To start work with Avaline, I have to perform the authorization. So I enter my username and password and click Login button. The list of scopes for strategic mode is open. I don't have any scopes now, so this list is empty. Avaline does not manage the maintenance data. Our clients usually manage this data in their existing repositories or ERP systems. SAP is the most common of these repositories. Avaline will import the data from SAP, schedule it, and export the results back into SAP. Importing data from SAP is executed automatically by a pre-configured schedule and has manual override capabilities. In this video, I shall demonstrate how to select the desired information. Click Update, and Avaline starts to import information from pre-configured files. When the import is over, the Avaline becomes available again. Depending on a client, Avaline is flexible to consider a large number of different business rules, which has to be taken into account during scheduling. These business rules need to be pre-configured before the start of automatic planning. An important business rule is seasonal constraints. This constraint defines how work can be done only in summer or what can be done during winter. For example, it's very dangerous to conduct any work around piping in a desert during summer. Here, I shall demonstrate how I can create a new seasonal constraint or edit an existing one. Monthly labor effectiveness is used to optimize workers' efficiency for each month. For example, monthly labor effectiveness for August equals 50%, as it is too hot to work the whole day. By default, effectiveness for each month equals 100%. These values can be configured for each specific month, as per your geographical region or your existing business rules. The duty standby constraint is used to define times such as when the main equipment will be turned off. It will also determine which standby equipment may function while the main piece of equipment is being serviced. This constraint assists to minimize any interruption to production work. Let me demonstrate it to you. Select equipment which have duty standby constraint, click button View Changeover Schedule, select Display in Period. It's worth noting that business rules for these constraints can be set once over an extended period. You're able to set default values which are repeatable over time. Once required preparations have been completed, we can create a new scope for scheduling. Allow me to demonstrate. The first thing I should do is to select a list of maintenance items for scheduling. So I click Maintenance Store button, review all available maintenance items, select some of them, and click Add to Scope button. I also can remove some of previously selected jobs from my scope. Select period for which schedule will be created. Enter desired scope name and description. Select option Show in tab to create separate tab for a given scope, and save changes. After scope saving, Dashboard page is open. Dashboard is the home and the main page for the strategic mode. But let me tell you about it a little bit later. Once scope is created, we should adjust it before scheduling. Avaline allows for maintenance optimization. For example, if you had a job scheduled to service a motor and do an oil change one day, and perhaps an inspection test or a belt change of the same or related piece of equipment the next week, Everline can schedule the work together, optimizing the downtime for that piece of equipment and or related equipment within that vicinity. To demonstrate how it works, I select several maintenance items and click Move to Package button. Then enter name for the new package and select desired cycle start date's configuration. I click on the link with the package name to review its detailed description. Let's go back to Scope Adjustment page. It is reasonable to group operations which have to be done on the same piece of equipment or equipment which has related relationships. For example, if you have a job to replace oil in a motor, and at the same time you have a job to do an inspection test, you don't need one day to take your motor, switch it off, replace oil, then start it again, and in 1 week do another maintenance activity, like inspection test. It's not reasonable to do this. We should make maintenance time as short as possible. Everline provides the ability to forbid any changes to the cycle start date during automatic scheduling. This means Everline will not modify data during automatic scheduling. Here I will demonstrate how to prevent changes. On this page, I can select several maintenance items and mark them as fixed. Everline also allows to forbid the change of cycle start date during automatic scheduling. Everline allows to fix maintenance items, which means system won't modify data for this job when doing automatic scheduling. On this page, I can select several maintenance items and mark them as fixed. Previously, I have created seasonal constraints, so now I can select several maintenance items and assign one of seasonal constraints to them. Let's go back to Dashboard, which is the main page for strategic planning. Realistic production includes hundreds of thousands of units of equipment and thousands of different work packages, so there can be tens of thousands of these combinations. We will name these combinations maintenance items. There are 3 semaphores on the upper right corner of the page. The first or the second semaphore will be highlighted in red if any business rule is violated and it cannot be corrected during automatic scheduling. If violation can be improved during scheduling, then the third semaphore is highlighted in yellow. If I click on red semaphore, I will be able to review a list of maintenance items where the business rule has a violation. I have the ability to disable seasonal constraint, edit a maintenance item, and remove it from the package or scope. So, I'm fixed given maintenance item, and Everline will be able to resolve problem during automatic scheduling. Also, we can review the list of maintenance items with some warnings. Let's go back to Dashboard page. For analyzing schedule quantity, we will use Plant Quality section. In this section, we can see a short representation of our resource forecast. Each bar depicts several so-called work centers. Each color on this chart embodies one particular work center. We can use Tooltip to get information about this correspondence. Everline tries to level each work center manpower, but of course some of them are more important and some of them are less important. Everline allows to configure priority of each work center. I can review the time chart for this year for 15 work centers. I click on a corresponding bar chart and forecast page is open. There are lots of different stats here, like information about workload and deviation for each month of a given year. We can see the detailed schedule for each work center separately, and I can select only one, like Support Service Mechanical, and see my resource forecast for this work center. Red bar represents period with major overload. If I select Other Work Center, like electricals, and I will see green bars, Green bar depicts period without any overloads or idle times. Open dashboard page again. As you can see from plant quality section, there is a big difference between minimum and maximum monthly workload. It means that it'll be necessary to hire additional workers for some months, and part of workers won't be used for other months. And all that leads to a really big loss of money. We need to try to level these resources because obviously we can split some jobs from one year to some other years. To optimize the shown schedule, we used automatic scheduling. We analyzed all existing algorithms, but none of them was sufficiently well for us, and we have implemented our own. Algorithm creates lots of variants and selects the best one. And the most interesting thing is how the system creates these variants, because it's impossible to use complete enumeration. All the time we optimize it and find ways to do it better, to create better schedule and to work faster. Long-term forecasting for tens of years sometimes takes several hours. Talking about scheduling time, I would like to say that it's really good, as in normal situation it isn't necessary to create a new schedule more than once a year. One of our customers tried to use SAP for scheduling. After 2 weeks of work, it failed. As you can see after scheduling, the jobs are split during 10-year scheduling period. Of course, you see test data, but these data are based on real data from one of our customers. Using our application, we were able to minimize resource peaks from 25,000 man-hours to 1,200 man-hours. And that's a lot, because as you can see, we saved a lot of possible expenses we could send on hiring contractors or idle times for our workers. Also, during automatic schedule, Avaline resolved all conflicts with business rules. To get some additional information about schedule, we can use reports. So I can configure design detailing level and other parameters and run report creation. Here I can see my total schedule and schedule for each separate work center. I am able to find when each maintenance item will be started and how many resources I need to perform all my activities for the whole year and for each separate month. Okay, there aren't any violations or warnings in my scope, and I think that the schedule is good enough, so I can export it to SAP. First of all, I need to freeze my scope. After that, it will be impossible to change it. After that, I can export schedule in TXT files, which SAP will use later to update information about maintenance items dates.